All right, Game 3, ALCS, Red Sox and Astros tonight at Fenway Park. Actually, Games 3, 4, 5, the next 3 nights. Sean McAdam, of course, will be there for all of them. Actually, Sean, I'll be there too, so I'll see you at the ballpark. But we want to preview the Game 3 matchup to start, and really the rest of the series, which really took a turn after those 2 games in Houston for a couple of reasons. For one, Houston's pitching is really a bit of a mess. Didn't go deep with either of their starters. They're dealing with an injury to their Game 2 starter, who's still on the roster and a question mark as of now, and obviously without their ace, Lance McCullers. So Houston's gone, and they spent their Game 4 starter in Game 2. So
Right.
the Red Sox line up really well here against Houston. Can they capitalize?
Well, they're certainly in good position to do so, John. They're coming home where they have played exceedingly well at Fenway, not just over the course of the season, but in the postseason as well. They're undefeated in their 3 games at home, having won the wild card, and of course, games 3 and 4 in the division series against Tampa Bay. The crowds have been raucous at Fenway. Alex Cora keeps saying that each game it seems louder than the previous one, and there really is a energetic atmosphere at Fenway. That should help. But between the lines, the real advantage, excuse me, the Red Sox have at this point is, as you noted, the pitching is much better positioned than the Astros. The Red Sox did not have to use any of their potential games 3 and 4 starters. That's Eduardo Rodriguez and likely Nick Pivetta for game 4 at all over the weekend. They were available in the bullpen, but weren't needed. So they start on regular rest and are fully replenished from the previous round. And the day off on Sunday allows guys like Hauk and Whitlock and others to bounce back and be available to give them multi innings out of the bullpen. Meanwhile, as you noted, the Astros rather are have to be questioning whether they have Luis Garcia going forward after he came out in the second inning, and Jake Odorizzi, the guy who would have started Game 4, got used in the bullpen in Game 2 instead. So they're scrambling, and the pitching edge definitely has the arrow pointing toward the Red Sox right now.
Yeah, I wonder whether the Red Sox would, take an approach that was more tactical in Game 3, because it would stand to reason with the games going back to back to back, and Houston having already gone deep into their, pen and used their Game 4 starter. Knocking out the Game 3 starter in an inning or 2 or a couple of innings would really kind of double down on that advantage that they have right now. So I don't know whether patience is something that's going to be in the playbook per se, or they just want to be aggressive and continue with the whatever approach has been working. But they would benefit enormously if they got to Houston starter tonight.
Yeah, and Dusty Baker's choices aren't great. You either make the quick hook if Urquidy gets into trouble tonight in Game 3, and realize that you don't have a lot of innings available from your relievers, or you stay with him longer than you'd like and fall behind to the point where you don't have much of a chance to come back late in that game. Neither one is very appetizing, but that's what Dusty Baker is looking at right now.
Yeah, and Urquidy, I think also is not a guy who's gone deep for them since he came off the DL. I think his tops is 91 pitches in his last several starts. So this is a person who might really only have 4 innings in them to begin with here. And if you make them work for it, it could be even an earlier exit, regardless of whether he's pitching well. So again, advantage Red Sox in this regard. I did want to mention the home field thing, because it's a remarkable story, and everybody always talks about, oh, our home crowd in Fenway is great. But you're right, Sean. I mean, you've seen it all, and you and I, we've covered several playoffs before, dating back to obviously when everything really picked up for the Sox, from Pedro joining the team in the late 90s through all of the runs in the 2000s. And yes, those crowds were incredible. This one really does feel another level up from a lot of what we've seen, at least recently. I don't know if you can compare to 2003, 2004, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, and I think there's a number of factors at work there, John. One, as Alex Cora has theorized, is people want to be outside and kind of enjoying communal events again
Life.
now that the
Yes.
pandemic is slightly receding anyway. So there's that sort of psychological factor. Number two, I think this has been a surprise Red Sox team, not unlike maybe 2013, coming off another last place finish, as that team was. So there's this feeling that this is a gift and it's best to appreciate it because no one expected it. And I think the third factor, and the Red Sox and their marketing department deserve a little bit of credit here, is that if you walk around the ballpark, it is a decidedly younger crowd than in past years. Everyone says that, baseball fans are 50 and above and that it's this older demographic. At the ballpark, both during the season and even extending into the postseason, there is definitely, more, I would say, 20 somethings involved. It stands to reason that those people are going to be louder and more energetic than an older crowd or a corporate crowd. So that's contributed to it as well.
Yeah, and I'm going to add a fourth one. I think the current climate in Boston sports has people really starved for a winner and a good story. You've had a couple of years of Patriots struggles. The Celtics were an underachieving kind of mopey team last year. So I think being able to embrace a team like the Red Sox, who are true underdogs, who seem to genuinely like one another, who seem to like playing this game in front of these fans, and have really shown it time and again, just with that kind of comeback kid sort of attitude, is really refreshing at a time where there just aren't a lot of great options. I mean, the Bruins are obviously, I think, a team that fits that model as well, but the Red Sox are here on the cusp, on the precipice of getting to a World Series and getting to play for a title. I don't think anybody expected that at all. So I think
Right.
that's a really big one too.
Yep. No question. This is sort of uh, playing with found money at this
Yep.
point. I think that was somewhat true when they beat the Yankees. As long as they got past the potential horror of having their season finished with a one-game playoff at home to their arch rivals,
Right.
then I think fans began to embrace this team as something of an underdog. And that feels funny to say when you think about the resources the Red Sox have as an organization. But probably most fans didn't have a great feeling about the chances going into the division series matched against the Rays. Put the payroll issues aside, the Rays dominated them during the season. They finished 8 games in front of them during the regular season in the standings. And yet the Red Sox figured out a way to have a couple of walk-off wins at home and send Tampa Bay home. And now there's this momentum that's gathering. And yeah, I think some of it has to do with the struggles the Patriots have. There's a bandwagon effect here with, maybe this team that we hadn't expected to be in position to do so might be the team closest to winning a championship of the four majors in Boston.
Yep, and I think people are happy to, even if you're on the bandwagon, they're happy to be on it and happy to be at the park. So the next 3 nights, and we are guaranteed 3 games, are going to be a lot of fun. So again, make sure you follow Sean McAdam and everything that he writes and tweets over at Boston Sports Journal. Again, it is only $39.99 a year, $5.99 a month, 11 cents a day for the best Boston sports coverage in town. Again, Boston Sports Journal, Sean McAdam. He'll have more throughout the night and obviously through the game. Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, John.